Hi, everyone. Carla and I want to start by thanking you for being such an amazing part of this journey with From Head to Heart and Home. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because we have some bittersweet news to share with you. This will be the final episode of our podcast. After much reflection, we've decided that it's time to close this chapter to make space for exciting new opportunities and projects that we can't wait to share with you when that time comes. I want you all to know that these episodes will still be available for you to revisit anytime you need some encouragement, insight, or a little heart to heart connection. And while this podcast is ending, this is by no means the end of our journey together. So stay tuned for what's next. There is an exciting opportunity on the horizon, and we will share those updates with you soon. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your support, your connection, and for being a part of this beautiful community. Here's to new beginnings. So today's topic really ties into this bittersweet announcement that we just shared with you. We want to talk about embracing endings as new beginnings. So, we're going to explore a few ideas together, bounce a few things around, and as always, deliver you a connected conversation. So, Carla, do you want to hit it off?
Sure. So with endings can be sad and absolutely like you cherish the memories, you cherish the moments. But if you hang on to something when it's time to end,
Hmm.
you are not open to these new things that are on the horizon. And often we do that in life. We really like grab on and grasp to the past, and we don't allow ourselves that moment of clarity of what's on the horizon, that
Hmm.
we're so stuck in our sadness and the what we know that we don't see that there's so much more that we don't know.
Hmm.
And that's the exciting thing for me about endings and new beginnings, is you never know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's like um the power of letting go, really, right? Like we kind of become so used to something, right? We get so comfortable with something, or it becomes a habit, right? That sometimes we really cling on to it, like you were saying, and we're afraid to let it go. And so, like you were saying, Carla, I think really looking for what's on the horizon, looking for the opportunities rather than what I'm losing or what I need to let go of, right? So it's like if you think of letting go as like creating that space for what's to come, it will allow you to reflect on the things that have completed, right? And it makes way for and creates space for growth, for healing, and those new opportunities. So I think it's really important because sometimes I remember feeling like stuck in between, holding on to both, right? What we have and what we want. And we feel kind of that tug and pull in between, but we can't have a hold of both, right? Like we can't be here and there at the same time. We need to keep
Right.
progressing through, keep moving through. So I love that. Um, the other thing that I think is really special about embracing endings as new beginnings, it's like that saying, there was a quote around something around we might see it as a door closing, but what if it's leading to another door that's going to open, right? So it's
Right.
like that ebb and flow of life, right? Like things come in and things go, things grow and things fall away. And so there's always this coming and going, and this is no different, right? Where just because one door is closing, this gives us the opportunity to start looking for other doors or windows that are opening that weren't before, right?
Right. Right. And even in relationships, sometimes there's this closing of a door in a relationship, and you don't see that it's to open up new things, and it not even necessarily to do with a new relationship, but new things in your life that will help you heal, grow, and expand, that maybe even bring that person back into your life at a different point, when you both are so different that the relationship is so much more enriching and so much better for the two of you that you
Mm.
didn't know. And that's one of the things that I like to share with my clients, is you never know what's going on. And as long as you hold on to that old, you are not going to find anything else but that. And it can bring us pain
Yeah.
and sadness that we're just holding on to, which goes into every little piece of our life. As we're holding
Mm.
on to this pain and sadness from this one thing, it spreads into other things. When we can really just be like, okay, I do get to grieve maybe a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. But I also get to be open to what's the new things on the horizon. What has this brought me to? Because it never is something that completely there was no reason for it. Endings don't mean that this wasn't beautiful. It just
Mm.
means it's ready for something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about like this pain and this sadness that can come with something complete coming to completion or ending, right? It can feel like a loss, like you were saying. And I think the positive way to be able to kind of reframe that is to look for the lessons that we've learned in that process and along that journey, right? So even for example, like I'll share some from you and I hosting this podcast, right? Some beautiful lessons and takeaways from for me in creating this with you have been not only like building our relationship, both, personal and professional, but committing to something and showing up for this thing, showing up for
Right.
ourselves, showing up for each other, and showing up for the people who are on the other end listening, right? So, all of you listeners, showing up for you, creating, right, from this place of authenticity, sharing, using my voice, all of these beautiful things, right? Like, we've grown so much in what it's been like a year and a half, a year and a bit, right? Something like that. We're on
Yeah,
this is
it's
71,
yeah, it's almost a year and a
71
half.
weeks. Yeah.
Right, right,
So like that is there's been major growth for us personally and professionally together and separately, right? And just to
right.
be able to share all of that information and that experience with other people is so profoundly powerful, and it's something that I'm so grateful to be able to do.
Right. Right. And it is. It's growth. And that's what I'm saying is we're so focused on anything because Shanda and I have grown a lot. I mean, if you look at our first videos to this video, we have grown a lot.
Mm,
Together, our connection, everything. And if you look at things, if you're ready to be like, okay, let me look, let me be introspective.
mm,
Where have I grown? What have I learned that I can take into the future and maybe grow from and create new things from, right? Like life does ebb and flow. Things do ebb and flow. And as long as we are open to that and the beauty of new things and learning from things changing because everything changes. Everything
mm,
changes. And as long as we are open to that, we can see the beauty in it instead of always like, ooh, I got to control it so it doesn't change. Ooh, I got to control it so it doesn't change because something new
mm.
is just around the corner and it might be something you never expected that brings you joy that you didn't even know you could experience. And that's the beauty of being open to not only learning, but what else is there.
Yeah. I like that you're talking about the control aspect too, right? Because there's always something to uncover and understand about ourselves when we have any time we have this need to control anything, anyone. I don't think there's any exceptions, right? Unless it's
No,
to do
I
with
don't
like
know.
safety or something like that. That's different. We're
Right.
not talking about that right now. But when we have this need to control a person in our life or to control a situation or to control an outcome, we need to look deeper into that thing. So,
Right.
this is an invitation to let go of the need of control as well, right? And step into maybe gratitude instead while you're reflecting and looking back. Like, I would encourage you, since we are coming to the end of the year, New Year's Eve is tomorrow, I believe, right? For you, the day of this recording, New Year's Eve will be
Yes.
tomorrow. So, what a perfect opportunity to reflect back over the year. Or if you've been with us since the beginning of this podcast, reflect back over the 71 weeks. Like that's craziness. And look for all those pockets of gratitude, all of those moments that you can appreciate. And while you're doing that, learn to see where you can let go of the things that are not serving you, the things that are weighing you down, the things that are holding you back and keeping you stuck, right? Maybe like we're always suggesting, journal some things out, make a couple lists. I'm grateful for this, and I'm ready or willing to let go of this, right? And kind of like maybe everything you're grateful for, or everything that you find that's keeping you stuck, have the opposite, right? So have one and one for each one and go through your list that way. And I guarantee you, you'll be kind of mind blown after doing this simple exercise. Gratitude is such a powerful thing and such a beautiful way to reframe any negative emotions, experiences, circumstances, right? From a really simple and easy place.
Right, right. And the more that you make gratitude a habit, so this is a
Mhm.
great way to start it, guys. It's a great way to look at everything. And you can even not even, if you are like, okay, I'm not ready to do that, pick three people you're grateful for.
Yeah.
You can do that if you're not looking like, okay, I'm not ready to do the whole list. I don't really want to look at my stuff yet. Pick three people you're grateful for. That's super easy to grab out of the air. And the more you do gratitude, like Shanda was just saying, the more that this becomes your way of thinking and seeing things. You look for the positive.
Hmm.
You're more likely to embrace your lessons and change because you see all of the great things that are going on in your life. Because we all have the small little things we don't like. And if we grab onto them and never pay attention to all the things we have to be grateful for, we get stuck
Yeah.
in that will of, oh, this and this, and then we find somebody that will feed into it with us. So really the beauty of gratitude is you get to feel and notice so much more in your life that's always been there, but maybe you didn't notice it because you were in a different space.
Yeah. And then from that place of finding the gratitude, you're rewiring your brain to focus and look for positive things. This is a wonderful launching point to start looking ahead, right? Again, tomorrow's New Year's Eve. This is just everything coming to a beautiful completion here in so many different ways. And another opportunity to start planning and looking ahead, right? Maybe looking back at the lessons learned, what you're ready or willing to let go of, the things you're grateful for, and also looking ahead at what you want to bring into your life, what you want to create, what you're calling for 2025.
Right. Right. And just embrace 2024 and be open to all the beauty that's to come in 2025.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if we don't plan it, it will come in the way that it's always been coming in, right? It's like those patterns. If we're not planning things and picking and choosing, the same things that have been coming will keep coming. So, this is why this work is so important. If you want to create something new and something different, you have to plan ahead for that. It's not just going to
Right.
happen, right? We need to be really intentional with what we're setting out to create, what we're doing with our time and how we're spending our time, and even who we're spending our time with, right? So,
Right.
how can you be more intentional about 2025, right? What are some of those
Mhm.
things that you want to create? You want to like really take ownership of and responsibility of and turn them completely around. What are some of those things for you? Make a list, right? And then maybe you have a list of like 5 to 10 things. I would say pick the thing that is most important to you at this time. We usually have a plethora of things. I know I do. I always have like long lists. We can't do everything at once. We should really just work away at one thing at a time or a couple things at a time, do them really well, make the progress, and then pick something else. So, what is that one burning thing for you? Right. And you'll be able to figure this out if you take some time and sit down and do a little brain dump around it, right? Get all the things out in your head, whether they're goals, whether they're intentions, whatever you want to call them, plans, whatever it is for you. Sit down and just let it all come out. And then step back from what you write down and take a look at it. Maybe you'll see groups of things or umbrellas. And oh, I think we lost Carla, but maybe you will see groups of things that are similar and there'll be like a more overhead type theme, right? Pay attention to what those are for you. All right. So I think that just really taking 2025 with the intention of being intentional would be such a powerful place to start.
Right. And that's beautiful. Remember intention. Intention is always the place to start. And
Mm-hmm.
that we're rewiring our brains. Our brains are, like Shanda said, like if you don't plan ahead and if you also don't take intentional action, your brain's wired a certain way. All of ours are, from our
Yeah.
experiences, from our childhood. All of that is pre-wired. And so until we are intentional and take inspired action, the same things happen over and over again. And you'll notice patterns in your life. We talk about patterns all the time. So as long as you are intentional, you notice your patterns, because that's another thing. You're taking intentional action. Okay, these are the patterns that led to what I don't want to happen in 2025. So I'm going to notice when it happens, not be hard on myself, notice when they
Mhm.
happen, shift it,
Yeah.
do something different.
Right. And that's how you create change, by the way, is by taking one small thing at a time and shifting it. Like Carla just said, we're not trying to take everything in the kitchen sink and change it all at once. It does not work long term. You might maintain it for a week, a month, maybe even a year. I doubt that, but maybe. And it will all come crashing down once again because we need to take those baby steps in creating long term shift.
Yeah.
So, something that I want to say too is like you mentioned it too, Carla, is have patience while you're doing this work. This is not something that you rush through. I've been working on mine all of December. I've been working on mine actually since the beginning of November. I've been working on my 2025 and what I want to create and what I want to put out into the world and who I want to be and all of these beautiful things.
Right.
Have patience, take your time, be kind with yourself. Don't judge. Whatever comes up, don't judge yourself, don't rush it, and don't make yourself wrong. Also, don't make your desires and your dreams wrong either. They're
Right.
they're there for a reason. They're calling you forward to step into something bigger. So don't make them wrong, right? Maybe you have like a really lofty financial goal, but you come from money mindset that is like money's bad or having too much money's wrong. Like don't let those things chip away at your dreams, right? You want to do the opposite. You want to work away and chip away at those negative belief systems so that you can bring your thoughts and your future and your desires all into alignment with each other, right? Because if you don't honor what you want, what you're dreaming of, what you feel called to, if you don't honor that, you will really experience so much discomfort and it doesn't allow yourself to live a life of authenticity, right? That's when we feel so incongruent, when we're doing things, saying things, being a certain way that isn't in alignment with why we feel like we're here or what we feel like we're supposed to be doing, right? So
Right.
pay attention, take your time, you know, do it for a little bit and put it down, walk away if you have to. Go for a walk, take it for a walk, like I like to say, right?
Yeah.
And just let the stuff come to you. This should be fun. This gets to be fun and enjoyable. It shouldn't feel like work, right?
Right. And when it does, step away, like Shanda just said. Why,
Yeah.
right? Like it, and know that sometimes that the reason it's starting to feel like work is there's a mindset thing that you have to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
um and understand we all have them. That I can't emphasize that more. You are not the only one that comes to these things and are like, oh my gosh, even the people that you're like, okay, this is what I want, and I see somebody and maybe you've never seen that they've hit that same spot as you,
Mm,
that doesn't mean they didn't.
right.
And they got to do the same thing as you and find their patterns, bite off little chunks to move forward, to get to the next step,
Right.
because nobody goes from here to here without what's in between.
Yes, I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. And remember that it's always about the process, right? It's
Mhm.
not so much about the destination. It's the process, it's the journey, it's who we're being in the process of becoming
Yeah.
who we want to be, right? And this
Right.
is no exception. Planning ahead for this coming year is no exception. And the more fun that you can have with it, the more fun that you can infuse into that process, the more joy you're going to experience ahead of time, right? Which is what
Right.
it's all about. So, Carla, is there anything else that you want to share on this topic about new beginnings, endings, and new beginnings?
Only that as long as you embrace it, you will find beauty in it. It's really in our hesitation and our fighting it that we
Mm,
find the pain and the fear. As we could talk about all the time, fear gets in the way. And when we really like grab onto something and aren't letting it go, that's when we just are like, fear, hold me here.
right. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. All right. And with that, we bring From Head to Heart and Home to a close. This podcast has been such a special part of Carla and I's journey, and we are so grateful to have had you here with us throughout the whole process. So thank you for tuning in, for sharing your thoughts, for being a part of this beautiful community with us. You made it what it was and what it will always be. As we say goodbye, I hope that you'll carry the insights, the stories, the lessons that we've shared with you, and remember that every ending is a new beginning. And we're so excited for what's ahead, not just for us, but for all of us. Okay. So, as a reminder, the episodes will still be here for you. They'll still be available anytime you need them. And this by no means is the end of our connection. You can connect with us online. The links will be in the description for this episode, as always. So, stay tuned for those updates on what's coming and what's next. Until then, take care of your heart, your mind, and your home. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Here's to new beginnings. Goodbye for now.